When I'm about to get it, like I bust out of this cage when I started winning. Watch the bright lights fade when I'm on them swinging. Plus I'm about to get paid like I'm on a mission. This ain't fight night, baby, this is night, yeah. Feeling right, knuckles clench, I got the mic tight. Lay my belt on the bench, cause it's in my sights, yeah. Plus I'm coming for your head, Chuck, ice tight. I ain't no stranger to circumstance, don't notice I'm about to dance. I keep my ship tight, cause any moment I'm throwing hands. I'm blowing up on your man, KOing him on demand. Fight of the night, bitch, I'll put ice in my corner, man. Coming for you, ain't no weakness. Go down the mission, no secret. Flick of the wrist, no sleep.
Hi guys, welcome to another Fordewin MMA interview. Today's a special day here at Fordewin MMA. You know why? Because we have somebody really special for us. Today's guest is a part of the sport's DNA. He's one of the finalists of Season 1 of The Ultimate Fighter, a man who has challenged for a UFC title at least 3 times. He's a multiple fight of the night and submission or performance of the night bonus winner during his career. On a more personal note, one of the first fighters I felt close to due to his South American heritage. It is my absolute pleasure to present to you one of the best analysts in the game today, an MMA legend and a broadcast savant. I'm here with Mr. Kenny Florian. How you doing, Kenny? Welcome to Fordewin MMA.
Good, man. I'm well. Thank you for the kind introduction. Thank you.
Kind? Man, it's only fair. You're a legend of the sport. Don't sell yourself short. So, what's up, man? It's good to have you. We were talking for a while now, and we're finally here. So, how are you feeling? I know that you're coming back from a set of recordings for the BattleBot series. Yes. How was that in Vegas, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, I was there for, I guess, a few weeks, and in Las Vegas, pretty intense shooting schedule. So I'm just recovering now, but I'm doing well. You know, good to be back home finally with my family, and I'm excited to get back home and start doing jiu-jitsu again and training. So
you've been on the road for a while now, right?
Yeah, I went right from doing commentary with the PFL. So I went from Florida. I went back home for like less than 24 hours. The next morning, I went to Las Vegas for a few weeks. So, I have 2 young kids at home, and so it's been a little crazy, but it's good. I'm grateful for the opportunity. So, it's been fun.
Well, speaking of opportunities, the opportunity to pick the brain of one of the sport's greatest legends is something that we don't have the chance to do every day. So if I'm excited, just know that we're fans at heart. Es lo que hacemos, Kenny Florian. Nos volvemos locos por la MMA. Lo hacemos en inglés, lo hacemos en español. Te bombardeo en español porque sé que me entiendes. Así que
I love it.
The thing to do right now is to start asking crap away, my man. So did you ever imagine that the sport would reach such heights and that you'd be involved at this level when you were competing at The Ultimate Fighter all those years ago?
You know, honestly, I knew it had the potential to do it. I think it's happened faster than I imagined in a lot of ways. I think that the sport has grown so much. You know, when I was getting into the sport, now I sound like an old guy, but when I was getting into the sport, I had no intention of saying, I'm going to do this so I can make a lot of money, or I'm going to do this because I want to be famous, it was an outlet for me to express my martial arts and to test myself. And that really was at the heart of what I was trying to do. And ultimately I was able to make a living off of it, and it wasn't easy, but it was possible. And so that was an amazing experience for me. And I also think that, you look at where the sport has come since then. I think a lot of people have been able to make some good money and improve their lives. And it's been great to see going from, Spike TV to Fox Sports to now ESPN. It's pretty cool. And I hope that those opportunities continue for the athletes.
Well, when you were back in the show, it was the Wild West. It was the last effort by the UFC back then trying to get the sport to the masses. There were a lot of different personalities in the show. Like you said it yourself in an interview, the real world, but with fighters. What would you say is the biggest lesson you got from that show?
Geez. I think it was pretty much like the immersion of understanding what it's like to live that life, I guess. So, prior to that, I was a professional martial artist where I was training every day. But my focus wasn't necessarily on fighting. So going on The Ultimate Fighter for the first time, it gave me a taste of a little bit of what it's like to live that life of a professional fighter, of what that would be like, what that entails, the kind of hard work, the kind of integration, the kind of competitiveness. So I think that's what kind of lured me in. Like, I had no intention of being a professional mixed martial artist at that time. When I lost in the final to Diego Sanchez, that's when I was like, okay, I want to do this. I don't want to lose like that. I succumbed to my fear. I was bested really by myself, and I can't go out like that. So I decided to really dedicate myself. So it was responsible for giving me a whole different outlook and a whole different life.
Well, we recently saw the return of the Ultimate Fighter recently, right? We witnessed the coronation of two new tough winners, Ricky Turcios and Brian Battle. Do you think this format, still holds up after all this time?
Geez, I think so. I think what the UFC specifically has as a challenge, well, I guess all mixed martial arts organizations has as a challenge, is the ability to promote fighters and to promote the sport in a way that gets people to connect with them personally. And I think that's what the Ultimate Fighter offers, perhaps more than any other thing. It's hard to do that over the course of a half an hour promo show or even an hour special of, an upcoming event. But you can follow someone and their personality over the course of a season and connect with them or not. And I think that's what the Ultimate Fighter kind of offers more than, say, Dana White's Contender Series or, that countdown special. So I think there's value in that. Obviously, for the participants themselves, it's a more challenging route in a lot of ways because you have to dedicate yourself and commit yourself to be there for a month, 2 months, whatever it is. But I think it's perhaps the best way to get people to get behind a certain fighter, I think. One of the best ways.
What you just said recently struck a chord with me. You said that after the finals, you were just then realizing that, I might put some additional time into the sport, which is crazy to me in perspective after seeing everything that you've done in the sport and whatnot. I would love to know what would be Ken Flo's advice for the Ricky Turcios and Brian Battles of the world. What would be the advice that no one gave you? Because back then, like I said before, it was the Wild West. Could you tell me what would those advice for them would be? Because all those things that you're going to say, you had to figure out yourself, right?
Sure. I guess, I think it's important. A lot of it's kind of common sense stuff, but I think the first thing is, when we came off The Ultimate Fighter, we maybe got more attention than even some established veteran fighters. So, whether it was getting invited to, go to the clubs and have all this, new fame, understanding that the focus should always be on the fight game. The focus should always be on your training, and those opportunities go away very, very quickly. So really taking advantage of the notoriety, but not thinking that that's the focus, right? Take that notoriety, but use it, to maybe promote your fights and things like that. But don't succumb to the pitfalls of fame, which is, thinking that, okay, now you get to go and do all these appearances, but it takes away from your training. Basically, focus that much more on your training, be a professional fighter all the time. You have a certain window to be as good as you possibly can. Just work hard every single day and stay focused on your goal. Going out and partying and doing the other stuff, is going to prevent you from achieving what you want. And I think I saw guys coming off The Ultimate Fighter who started focusing on partying and, organizing their parties and doing all this other stuff as opposed to just training.
So basically, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, exactly.
For all those Spiromans of the world, right? So let's switch gears. Battle bots, man. How that awesomeness came into your life.
It really just kind of fell into my lap. So many of these opportunities, for whatever reason, I just feel so lucky, have come to me just really out of nowhere, seemingly. I just got a phone call from the producers of BattleBots. I think they were either going the engineering route of finding someone who was a BattleBots competitor or getting someone who was a commentator for the fight game. And they ended up choosing a commentator for the fight game. I wasn't even in the running. They told me they had already kind of picked somebody, but they said, why don't you come in for an interview? I came in for an interview. They loved me, I guess, and offered me a job pretty much within 24 hours. And a few days later, they sent me like a book of like that thick of everything I needed to know about BattleBots in like 1 week. And I just studied my ass off, man, and learned the best that I could. And each season I learned more and more. And I am a fan of combat, no matter what it is. And I'm of the belief that at its core, all combat follows similar rules and strategies and tactics. And that if I can get to that and learn those things, that it can also help me as a martial artist. So I took the opportunity both because of selfish reasons and because I was fascinated by it, that I love new challenges, and I saw BattleBots as a new challenge that I was excited about.
Well, part of what makes BattleBots so interesting is like, it's unlike any other combat sports. The outcomes are very much in the air most of the time. Not to say that it upsets boxing, kickboxing, and MMA, that those upsets don't occur in the sport, but they just do it differently at BattleBots Arena, man. Yeah. There are other factors that come into play. Environmental hazards, man. Or maybe or maybe something in particular that the robot is not working right. It's so crazy to see.
It really is. And it is very similar. It's like, same day, you have a robot that maybe it didn't go well. There's some wire missing, and that could be the difference. Same thing. You can go and you ate something bad that day and you don't feel well as a fighter, or your weight cut didn't go well, or you're going in there with an injury or something. That could be the difference.
Same vibe, right?
Yeah, same, yeah.
Well, I love how you can put all this energy that makes me feel like I'm actually watching a fist fight. How was it for you to adapt to this new kind of fighting?
Thank you. It was very different. I think what helps also is the fact that it was so new to me, and being live, watching a BattleBots show live is so different. I think it's exciting on television, but being there live is unlike anything else, because it's like seeing a ton of car crashes. These are 250-pound machines that are smashing into each other and crushing each other and flipping each other. So watching that live and not knowing what's going to happen, I think is really exciting to me. And also getting to know some of the teams, you start to, associate with them and feel for them, and how hard they're working. So you're like, oh man, I feel bad, or I'm so excited for these guys, or so the emotion is very real. I'm just kind of like a kid watching a bunch of fun car accidents.
Did you get a chance to mingle with Andrea Suarez and her team?
I did, actually. Yes. Yeah. They, her and her husband, Mike, are good people who've been around the sport for a long time, and they're just amazing at what they do, man.
Yeah. And Andrea is Latina too. So we're cheering for her, of course.
Yes.
So Kenny, as a retired fighter, when you take a moment and see everything that you're doing in the sport, between the PFL commentary, the amazing Anik and Florian podcast, and BattleBots, your BJJ school, what comes to mind? Like, to link it up with my first question, right?
Yeah.
As the perspective goes on, and you're right now, I'm not saying that you're an old man, but you're a mature man. You've gone through a lot. You've been part of. You're like one of the first astronauts on that first rocket launch, right? Being a part of the Ultimate Fighter. That's how I see it personally.
Yeah. No, it's okay. You can call me old man. I don't care. No.
I mean, I have some gray hairs in my beard too, so I'm in that place too. It's sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I just feel super lucky, man. I think there was a time in my life where I thought I had to go and do what my parents were telling me what I should do. Like, oh, you got to be a lawyer and you went to school, so now you got to do this, you got to do that. Or, I thought that I was like almost living this lie that I had to do. And I was just going through the paces like, okay, guess I'm just going to work at a desk for my life. And that's what I'm going to do because that's what I'm going to do to make money. And I think opening up my mind to saying, wow, I actually can follow what I love to do. And if I work hard enough at it, I can make a life out of it. No matter what it is, you will find a way. I feel like it's almost like the world, nature, and you are kind of combining into one thing to create a new path. And I just feel so blessed. And none of this was like planned necessarily, like, oh, I'm going to do this so I could do this and do that. Maybe some of it. But honestly, I just followed what I love to do. And all these opportunities started coming into my lap. And I don't know. I as I look back on everything, I'm so grateful. Even for the losses and even for the adversity that I've experienced in my life. I feel like it has made me such a better person and so much stronger. And that continues every single day. And I get to nerd out and geek out over martial arts and combat and improve myself as a martial artist. So it never stops. It never stops. There's always so much to learn. There's so much that I'm excited to learn. There's so much I don't know, and that excites me every single day.
You're getting me emotional, Kenny Florian, for fuck's sakes. Passion runs deep here. And, well, passion is a subject that you have and I have, we both share, but there's another bold guy that has it too. And I was talking to this guy recently and I was asking him, what is it like to work with Ken Flo on a regular basis? And this is what he said.
So what's it like to work with Kenny Florian? So they say you should find somebody who can balance out your weaknesses. He's rich, I'm poor, he is good looking, I am not attractive. He is a tremendous mixed martial arts analytical mind. I am a broadcaster faking it till I make it. No, I mean, a lot of that is true. But I got so much love for Ken Flo. He is just full of humility, and obviously I don't have to speak about his MMA acumen, but to be able to align myself every week with the guy who I believe is the best analyst in the space obviously is humbling for me and very exciting for me, and that's why he was my first choice in 2015. I'm sure there are times when I'm articulating myself, his inner monologue is like, dude, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But I love you, Ken Flo, and here's to another 6 years, my man.
That's funny. That's funny. He's lying again. He's lying again. Unbelievable.
Yeah, a big shout out to my man Jon Anik, to the bad Anik.
That's very kind.
So I'll turn it to you. What is it like to work with the bad Anik on a regular basis?
I've known Jon for a long time. He came into this really coming out of boxing, and he was a journalist, a radio personality, and really came into this space pretty green. And the thing that has always struck me about Jon is his memory. He's got a very impressive memory for all sports, and he can also integrate analogies amongst the different sports really well. And that's super important if you're trying to bring other people in from other sports. And I think the other thing is, not only is he talented, but he works hard to get better every single day. And I think that is something that I have tried to do in my life. And he's as sharp as they come, man. He's super smart and has worked hard on top of his talent to be where he is. And he's gone from being nobody in this sport to the premier, not only the best play-by-play commentator in mixed martial art, but perhaps one of the best commentators in sports, period. And I think that's important to note. I think giving someone an historical context and giving them context for each fight, and to be able to give people a background on each and every fighter, and to really focus on the person who's the first fight of the night to the main event. I don't think anybody does it better than Jon, and it's not even close. So yeah, and then just to get a chance to work with him and to learn from him, as someone who is very good at broadcasting, has been a huge plus for me. I've learned so much from working with him over the years. And yeah, as much as he's learned from me, I've learned from him. And I think there is a certain, dynamic that allows us to play off of each other's strengths and weaknesses quite well, because I know I have a lot of weaknesses. So it's been great to work with him. And just to see the podcast grow organically is awesome. And all the love that Jon Anik gets is well deserved.
Absolutely agreed, man. I mean, what you guys do at the podcast is not only enjoyable for all of us who follow the sport with passion, but also for me personally as a content creator, to have you guys as allies and to feel that I'm treated with respect, even though I'm miles away from you guys and from all the action. It really touches home with me in that regard. So I really love what you guys do, and I'm hoping, like Jon said before, to get you guys for at least another 6 years. And I wanted to congratulate you on such an amazing run. The product you guys have is so amazing, and it's something that it's a can't miss kind of Monday. So I love to see it. So let's talk PFL, my man. It's coming down soon. The end of the year, the end of the season. What are you expecting to see out of everybody competing right now? I mean, Kayla Harrison is really close to bagging that second million, man.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Kayla Harrison is just a beast. I think that she is on her way to mixed martial arts royalty. She absolutely has the background, the work ethic, and the skills to become perhaps the best female mixed martial artist of all time. She has big shoes to fill. Of course, there's Amanda Nunes and Ronda Rousey, who reached a obviously tremendous amount of stardom, but she's on her way and can absolutely surpass both those women. She continues to get better. I think she's obviously a huge favorite to win the PFL yet again, and that should be interesting. I think that Bruno Capoloza is looking like an absolute world beater at heavyweight. I've been so impressed with his ability to always come up with the right game plan and execute when he needs to. I mean, he's really been flawless all season. So he is someone to watch that could be a potential huge star. And let's see. And Martin Hamlin, which should be amazing. Cara de Sapato. And Martin Hamlin. And Martin Hamlet are going at it. So that should be an interesting fight. Obviously, both guys. Obviously, Kadejispato Shoeface has been around a very long time, fighting in the UFC, obviously, for a long time. But he looks better than ever. And then he's taking a guy in Martin Hamlet who has so much potential. He's like a physical phenom, but he's still raw. So curious to see how that goes down. It's just, I think it's been a really interesting season in that there's been a lot of surprises. There's been, I think, some questionable judging. There's been some upsets. There's been some underwhelming performances. There's been some huge surprises from people that have emerged out of nowhere. So it's been fun to watch. And again, that has been really tough because, to have 4 fights over the course of 6 months is just crazy. It's so hard. And there's so many things that can go right and wrong. Like we were talking about with BattleBots, it's like injuries, being tired, weight cuts, bad matchups. There's so much that can go right and wrong in mixed martial arts, right? Combat is so chaotic. But it's been awesome to see those stories play out. And, everyone thought Anthony Pettis was going to kick everyone's butt. Clay Collard comes in and upsets, and then Clay Collard doesn't even get to the final,
That was wild.
Yeah, it was wild, man. So I thought he should have been in the finale, but it's been pretty crazy.
Well, here in South America, Kenny, we mostly consume UFC and local MMA. We also know that Bellator, Combate Global, LFA, and there's a bunch of other promotions, right? We have this notion that the PFL exists, and fans here are just realizing that it's live on YouTube. It has some different set of rules in terms of what goes on during the season, but since we're your people, Kenny, there's a lot of people here in South America that doesn't fully get the grasp of what the PFL is. So I would love for them to have Mr. Kenny Florian, MMA legend, to sell them out on what the PFL is and why they should watch it, because we have an amazing end of season right now.
Absolutely. I think the easiest way to talk about it is it's similar to soccer, right? It's similar to football in that you have a regular season. The top teams, kind of the teams with the most amount of points, go into championship rounds and play each other to see who the champion is. So basically, and the way you get the most amount of points is through winning, and the way that you win. If you win in the first round, you get 6 points. If you win in the second round by finish, you get 5 points. If you win in the third round by finish, you get 4 points. And if you win by decision, you get 3 points. So it incentivizes the fighters to go out there, be aggressive, and to win as quickly as possible. And I think that's the kind of sign of a mixed martial arts master or a master in general, is to win quickly and painlessly. And you preserve yourself over the course of the season while you do that, And the people that have survived, they have different weight classes. In the welterweight championship, we have one of the toughest Hawaiian fighters in the world that I've ever seen. Is Ray Cooper, and Ray Cooper will be taking on Magomed Karimov, a very tough and talented Russian fighter. Both come from wrestling backgrounds. Magomed Karimov is another tough fighter from Dagestan. Ray Cooper trains at his family's, compound. It's just basically him, his brothers, and his dad who coaches him. Those are his only training partners, his only training that he's known throughout his career. So it's
a
pretty
crazy
amazing
way to go, man.
Yeah, I mean, literally training out of his garage. He's got a little training facility, and that's it. So he's hardcore, man, and is tough as nails, just hungry, mean, nasty. And Magomed Karimov, kind of looks like me, looks like a skinny guy, that looks like he can't really hurt anybody, but he's an absolute killer. Trains with American Top Team right now. Should be awesome. Another guy, Rajabov, taking on Manfio. Rajabov is from Tajikistan. Manfio is from Brazil. Two tough guys going out in the lightweight championship.
So it's safe to say that it's stacked. It's really stacked.
It is. So now we have the finals. The finals are coming up October 27th. Kayla Harrison, Taylor Guardado, as I mentioned, we talked about them before. Bruno Capoloza taking on Ante Delia. Ante Delia trained with Krokop in Croatia. These two actually fought in the first round. Capoloza knocked him out. So now they have a rematch in the final, which should be really interesting. Chris Wade, who used to fight over in the UFC, is taking on one of Habib Nurmagomedov's proteges, Movlid Khabalayev. So two guys who come from wrestling backgrounds. Chris Wade has really reinvented himself, going down to 145 pounds. That fight should be amazing. And as we talked about before, Shoeface Antonio Carlos Jr. taking on Martin Hamlet, a guy who comes from a Greco-Roman wrestling background, going at it. And so.
This segment of the PFL is brought to you by Pronunciation of the Week with Kenny Florian, because my man is rocking all those Eastern European pronunciations like a fucking boss. Kenny, on October 8th, it will be 10 years since your retirement as a competitor, right?
Gosh, wow.
Wow,
I didn't know that, man. Dang. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
How many times during all those years after you retired have you felt this itch to come back? Is there a fight that you're seeing and going, man, I can whip some ass right now?
No, I always knew that my time was limited. I always knew that, I came into, I did martial arts when I was a kid, of course, but when I started doing it seriously again, I was really in college. So I started at 20 years old, So I did jiu-jitsu. I trained really hard in jiu-jitsu, but I was also playing soccer at the time. I got my black belt in like 5.5 years. And shortly after that, I was in the UFC, didn't have a whole lot of time. So 2003, I had my first mixed martial arts fight. 2004, I was in the UFC already. And then I retired in 2011. So I was in the sport 7 years, So I knew that I was older than most people and I had to do as much as possible. So I said, when my body is no longer able to do it at a high level, I knew it would be time. So it was over. I don't look back with any regrets, really. I wish I could have done better. I know I could have done much better, but I've learned so much from all my dumb mistakes that I've made over the years. And I'm still trying to get better every single day. I still continue to make dumb mistakes. And I'm still fascinated by the martial arts. I don't train as much in striking. I did a little bit last week. I trained with actually Brandon Moreno and his team.
I was going to ask you about that. How was that?
Fun. That was a lot of fun, man. I had a chance to feel young and old at the same time. But I mainly just do jiu-jitsu, and that's really where my passion is still, and what my body allows me to do based on my schedule and all that stuff. So, yeah, I just continue to learn it. And as far as training with Brandon Moreno, it was awesome. I got a chance to train with Brandon Moreno. I got a chance to train with Kelvin Gastelum.
Did you roll with Moreno?
I didn't get a chance. He's a little bit of a smaller guy than me, so he has his training partners and he's getting ready for his fight and stuff like that. We exchanged some techniques a little bit. I showed I guess each other some stuff and yeah, it was awesome to see him work, man. He's so passionate. Talk about passion and working hard, and he's amazing, dude. And I think he's the kind of guy who's a great representative of the sport. And I expect him to hold on to the belt for a long time. He's an awesome guy and humble and funny and nice and.
Yeah, he should get a Kleenex sponsorship because he made us all cry here.
Yeah, man.
If you would have seen all the fans here bawling their eyes out, man. I mean, I cried like a little kid. I have no shame in it.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's the guy. He was kicked out of the UFC. The UFC let him go at one point. He came back into the sport. His story is so inspiring, and I'm telling you, man, it's only the beginning. He's only getting better.
My man, Kenny, it's been such a pleasure to have you here, dropping knowledge about everything that you do. It's an honor for us to have you here at For the Win MMA. As we discussed before the interview started, we're trying to get the Latin American scene up and trying to be at the same level that the gringos are, right? So
yeah, Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I hope that the sport grows much more throughout Latin America, South America. And I think that there's so much potential. And there's so many great fighters coming from these areas. And one of the best ways to grow it is through inspiring people to compete and getting organizations over there. And I hope they all know it's possible. And I wish them all the best.
We wish you all the best, Kenny Florian. We want you to be back with us sometime. Así que, hermano, esto es en español. Así que te voy a pedir, en la medida de lo posible. Sorry, guys, I just swapped to Spanish real quick because, as you know, this is Latin America too. Quería pedirte unas palabritas en español para el respetable público. Sabemos que los peruanos, cuando pensamos en Kenny Florian, se vuelven locos y están ahí. Vamos, sí se puede, vamos con Kenny. Y obviamente toda la gente en Latinoamérica que te respeta y admira tu carrera. Para nosotros eres un referente y es un honor tenerte acá. Así que te quería despedir en español como corresponde junto a todo nuestro público. Quería dejarte ahí para que los saludaras también.
Bueno, muchas gracias por eso. Muchísimas gracias por el apoyo sobre los años y por el amor, y ojalá que todos están viendo ahí, están gustando de artes marciales mixtas, y así, un abrazo y gracias por todo.
The man himself, Kenny Florian, was at Fordewin MMA. Thank you so much, Kenny, for sharing some time with us. We hope to see you back
brother.
soon, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Team and a kid, no idea what's coming, bitch, you'll learn real quick, bitch. I got double digits in my hit list, switches, southpaw writtens, I'm relentless, sickness, I make no excuses, no bitchin' stitches, and your future is just business. Been through hell and back, on our way to the top, ain't got no time to relax, always working, no stop, leave my soul on the track, bounce your head off the mat, this is one stop shop, got what you need in the back, coming for the win, no weakness, Cote on a mission, no secret.